Should you get it right in camera or fix it in post? There's a lot of purists out there talking about, oh, you must get it right in camera. And there's a lot of people with not much skill saying, well, we'll fix it in post. But let's look at this from a commercial, professional point of view, because it is something that comes up for me on pretty much every photo shoot. Now, this is not a, you must do it like this, you must do it like that. This is me just explaining to you how it works professionally. And let's take, for example, a stills shoot. Let's take an image, for example, of a product. We're shooting this. The shoots are generally quite expensive. The shoot day, there's a lot of money in the room. What I mean by that is there's a creative director, an art director, a producer, a project manager, my agent, my producer, a couple of my assistants, a digitech, a stylist, and a set designer. Probably 10, 11 people in there making money. So every time we're trying to get it right in camera and we're taking longer, that's all adding up. But every time we fix it in post, that costs a lot of money too. So it's a balancing act. And let me give you some examples. If we don't know what color background we want, for sure, we fix it in post. We shoot it on grey and we fix it in post. It is cheaper to do that than to do multiple shots and multiple backgrounds. If there's a bit of dust on the product and it's not going over anything important, we fix it in post. It's quicker to go, click, than it is for someone to come in there and, nicey it, probably knock it, have to reset and all that bad stuff. But if we're shooting moving image and there's a bit of dust on it and we're shooting at 120 frames a second for 6 seconds, you'll be damn sure we'll be moving that dust because it's more expensive at this point to do every single frame's dust removal than it is just to brush it out of the way. Now, there is no right or wrong to this, no rhyme nor reason, but it is very important to understand the commercial impact of right in camera versus fix it in post. We often shoot things and crop them out. We often shoot composites. We shoot with high resolution 100 megapixel cameras, not because we need 100 megapixels, but because we don't know what the client might need afterwards. Do they want to cut out an element of it and use it elsewhere? Everyone's like, well, get it right in camera, move the camera around, get the right lens. No, we need versatility. This is not art for art's sake. This is commercial photography. But on the flip side, even if it is just for fun, where's the harm in fixing it in post if it's easier and quicker than getting it right in camera? There shouldn't be any like, oh, I'm a purist, I don't crop, I don't do this. The second you take a digital image, you're doing something. You didn't build your camera, you didn't make the sensor, you didn't make the processor that gives you the color profile you get. You're damn sure color grading it, you're not getting that right in camera unless you're shooting slide film, and fair play to you. So why limit yourself? Why stop anywhere? Why go, well, do you know what? Photography is just this. For me, I want to do whatever I can to create an image. I just happen to use a camera sometimes. Not always, but sometimes I use a camera. Sometimes I doodle, sometimes I sketch, sometimes I scan, sometimes I Photoshop. It doesn't matter. The key is that you're creating an image. That's what matters to me. And I think a lot of people get hung up on the purist pursuit of photography. If you're shooting street photography, it must be black and white film. It must be a 28mm lens. It must be this, it must be that. It doesn't matter. If you're shooting portraits, you mustn't crop them. You mustn't do this, that, or the other. Doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. But when it's commercial, when you're being paid, every time you have a thing where you might need to adjust it in camera, you must constantly be going, are we hitting the time deadline to get through the shoot? Are we on target? And if we're pushing it, what's the repercussions to fixing it in post? And this is one of the photographer's jobs. It's making these decisions. Do we do it now? Do we fix it in post? I often have my retoucher on set working in real time just so I can go, Rob, mate, how are we looking on this? If we do this in post, is it a quick job? And you'll be like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. That's 5 minutes. We'll be like, oh, it's going to take a couple of hours to do that, mask it, pull it in and all the rest of it. We're like, okay, we'll fix it in real time. Let's do that. Let's not spend all the money on post. Let's do it now. And it's a real balancing act. It's project management skills. It's budget management skills. Your producer and agent can't do it for you because they don't know. They don't have those intricate skills of understanding these things. You need to liaise with these people and go, look, we have this problem, we need to do this, it's going to take longer, we're going to have to change how we're addressing the rest of this shoot. Or we need overtime, we need to speak to the clients if they've got overtime budget. Let's present them with these issues. We've got this option or this option, this is best, but it's going to take an extra 2 hours of overtime. This one here we can fix in post, it's going to cost this much. What do you want to do? Every shoot is a constant negotiation. Yes, you've got your estimate in. Yes, you've agreed the costs, but things change. We regularly have to sit there on set and go, look, this is taking longer than we expected. Here are your options. we cull the shot list, or we increase the budget. What would you like to do? That's a fine conversation to have, because sometimes you don't know. You just don't know. It might take longer than you expected. You're hoping to get it right, but it might be quicker. You might be able to save them money, or you might be able to do a better job because it's not taking as long. You can get more intricate and stuff, or maybe some different options on shots. You ask them, you go, look, we're ahead of schedule. We can try this if you want to, or whatever it may be. I've never had a client go, no, just reduce the bill. Once they've committed to that money, they've committed and they want to spend it and get what they can. But it's important to understand that getting it right in camera, fixing it in post doesn't matter from an ethical standpoint, unless you're a documentary photographer or something, where it's you've got to record it correctly. But as creatives, use that creative license to do what you please. Don't feel shamed by going, well, to get this right in camera, it's going to take me 2 hours or a 5-minute job in Photoshop. Save yourself an hour and 55 minutes and fix it in post. There's nothing wrong with that. The final image is all that matters. How you got there doesn't. And like I say, commercially, it's just about managing budgets. And that's how we do it on every single shot. Do we do it here? Do we do it later? It's one of the main skills we need to have as photographers. And it's something you don't get to know about until money gets involved. Because up until that point, spend 2 hours fixing it in camera. Or, you're good at Photoshop. Don't worry about learning how to do that in camera. But once you're a pro, you've got to know these things. You've got to really understand what's possible and not. Now, for me personally, I can't use Photoshop really. Like, obviously, I can do the basics, but I'm not doing any composite work. So I have to ask a retoucher. And over the years, I now know what is possible. I can't do it, but I know what's possible for them to do. So I'm like, yes, we'll shoot it like this. We'll often have a pre-production meeting with the retoucher and be like, look, here's my plan. How does that work for you? If we did it this way or this way, what's the benefits? What's the pros and cons? What would take longer? What will look better? And we get that information and we use it to the best of our ability. I hope this has been of use to somebody. I hope it's helped someone change their perspective of fix it in post and just be a happier photographer. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.